That's right, and of course Michael is at the top of the list, but we'll talk first about some of the rain that we've seen out there. A few sprinkles, a few isolated showers back towards Richmond, Roanoke Rapids, west of Interstates 85 and 95. Notice a few showers there just off the coast of Virginia Beach. So we have seen a couple of these spotty showers popping up, and we'll see one or two spotty showers as we go here through the evening and into the early overnight. But I think a lot of that activity will fall apart after sunset. Partly cloudy skies later tonight, temperatures dropping back into the low 70s by 11 o'clock. And like we have seen the past few mornings, I think there will be some patchy dense fog in a few spots tomorrow morning as well. For your Wednesday, another day very similar to what we've seen today and yesterday, with partly sunny skies, an outside chance at an isolated shower, and temperatures well above normal once again up into the low to mid 80s. It says we get into Wednesday night that we start to see those clouds working their way in, and then on Thursday, that's when we'll see a few of these showers popping up during the morning, and I think they'll become a little more numerous into the afternoon, and by the evening, that's when we'll really start to see some of that rain working its way in with hurricane, or what will be the remnants of Hurricane Michael. So here's the latest. You can see the storm continuing to work its way off towards the north. It has picked up that forward speed. This is the 2 o'clock advisory. Winds of 110 miles per hour with gusts up to 130, moving to the north at 12 miles per hour. That'll bring landfall sometime Wednesday afternoon across the Florida Panhandle, and then quickly weakening. 85-mile-per-hour storm here just as it's crossing over the state line into parts of Georgia. By Thursday morning, it's through inland sections of Georgia, and by Friday morning just off of our coastline and rapidly accelerating off towards the northeast. But that will give us several hours of some wind and rain here across parts of Hampton Road. So let's break down that timeline for you. Tomorrow, Michael makes landfall along the Florida Panhandle. Here locally, warm, a couple of isolated showers like we saw today, and tomorrow night Michael will be over Georgia. Not much happening here, just a few isolated showers and some patchy fog as we go into the morning. By Thursday, that's when Michael will be speeding through the Carolinas. A bit breezy here, scattered showers or thunderstorms starting to pick up, especially Thursday night, and that's when we could have some heavy rain at times, maybe 4 to 6 inches of rain if we get some of those heavier downpours. Also notice those winds picking up first out of the east, then to the north and the northwest, 15 to 30, some gusts up to 50, especially along the coastline, and maybe a little bit stronger as we get into early Friday morning along the coast and the outer banks of North Carolina. Northwest winds 20 to 40 with gusts up to 55. Rain tapers off early, and the good news is that with those winds out of the northwest as opposed to the northeast, the tides, they'll be running a little bit high, but we're not looking at any significant issues with tidal flooding. And by Friday evening, still breezy, but things winding down, partly cloudy skies. Right now, looking over the Norfolk Botanical Gardens, we got lots of blue skies right now, and temperatures coming in right around 81 degrees, easterly winds at 11 miles per hour. It's a little bit muggy out there. 82 in Franklin and Newport News, 85 in Hertford, 81 up at Wallops Island, 80 in Moyock, 84 in Williamsburg, and 81 in Kill Devil Hills. So for tonight, partly cloudy, a little bit of patchy fog possible, down to 71. 84 degrees tomorrow, isolated shower possible, partly sunny and warm. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy skies with isolated showers, and then those scattered showers and storms picking up Thursday, heaviest late, 86 degrees, and the heaviest of the rain will be Thursday night into Friday, early in the morning. Windy as well, tapering off by afternoon, and the weekend just looking beautiful, partly to mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees.